In our culture, time is seen as a commodity, equated with money. You can see how pervasive this metaphor is by looking at all the phrases we use every day to talk about time. We spend time, save time, budget time, invest our time, judge something as worth our time, live on borrowed time, run out of time, and in general worry about managing our time. Because we believe so thoroughly in the time equal money metaphor, it greatly affects how we are willing to spend our time. So let's look at some of the metaphors that underlie gender in our culture and how their use constitutes microaggressions. These are statements or actions that cause often unintended harm to others by what is implied. Robert Baker some years ago asked his students to list all the relatively neutral terms they could think of to replace the word woman in a sentence. Students listed some apparently neutral words such as girl, gal, lady, and so forth. Some also listed chick and broad, probably in ignorance of the implications of these words. But many of the males also listed a number of terms they insisted were neutral and which typically belonged to one of two categories: either playthings, such as babe or doll, or animals of various sorts. Both of these categories of terms should be thought of as denigrating if you simply consider the nature of each. When our language casts another person in the role of a plaything, often with sexual overtones, we are equating them with objects we can use for our own enjoyment. When we cast them into the role of an animal, even a pet, we are equating them with animals lower in status than ourselves, animals which entertain and serve us. By the terms men choose, they indicate they think women share certain properties with specific types of animals. With one exception, all of the animal terms suggested by males in this class reflected a conceptualization of women as domesticated servants, or pets, or both. The one exception is the term fox, which is generally perceived as complimentary by both men and women. Yet if one considers the fact that the major connection between man and fox is that of predator and prey, it can be seen as not at all complimentary. The fox is an animal that men chase, hunt, and kill for sport. Its use casts women as prey that is fun to hunt. More recently, Dr. Lopez of Brown University has written further about the use of animal terms in both Spanish and English, which refer to women, including those terms no one would argue are meant to be neutral in tone. In the women as pets metaphor, the term dog and its variants, bitch, bowser, bow wow, mud puppy, denote ugliness or promiscuity. Words related to cat denote maliciousness or meanness, or in the case of kitten, youth and sexiness. Pussy, of course, qualifies as an obscenity, denoting female genitalia. In the women as farmyard animals metaphor, there is a portrayal of women producing and rearing offspring for the benefit of mankind. The smaller farmyard animals, hen, chicken, rabbit, lamb, connote small, helpless animals in need of protection whose main function is to provide service or food. Terms for larger farm animals also generally denote fatness or ugliness: cow, broad, heifer, mare, mule, sow, and nag, the latter also capturing age and uselessness, or one who is habitually complaining. One exception is filly, which connotes a young woman of some size and is one of the few terms with a positive meaning. Lastly, in the women as wild animal metaphor, the connotations are those of being out of control and thus dangerous. Names of predatory animals are employed to refer to females who take the reins of the relationship, sexual or otherwise, out of the hands of men. Names such as tigress, she-wolf, and cougar portray women as menacing animals, as if to imply the inappropriateness of their having control. Animal metaphors typically reinforce stereotypical and sexist views of women, and underlying these metaphorical identifications is the notion of control. Whether in the form of pets, livestock, or wild animals, the message is that women are in dire need of subjugation, domestication, and tight control. If this is not your view of women, I ask that you eliminate the microaggression of using such terms to refer to them. Try to always be aware of the underlying meaning of words you choose and avoid those with built-in harmful messages.